Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the most gripping true crime stories from around the world. Today, we're delving into the tragic and heartbreaking story. On Sunday, August 7th, 2016, 27-year-old Vanessa Marcotte was visiting her mother, Rosanna, in Princeton, Massachusetts. It was a sunny and warm day, and Vanessa, who was usually very active, decided to go for a run. She often enjoyed walking outdoors and practicing yoga. A few hours later, she was supposed to catch a bus to New York City, where she lived and worked. When Vanessa didn't return from her run, her mother became worried because this was unlike her. Rosanna contacted the police, and the case quickly drew national media attention, since such an incident hadn't occurred in the small town of Princeton for the last 30 years. Before proceeding, I'd like to share an important message with everyone. We've been exerting our utmost effort to produce top-notch content on our channel. Despite our dedication over a considerable period, we're yet to reach our initial goal of 1,000 subscribers, with 97% of our viewers yet to subscribe. Therefore, we kindly ask you to consider subscribing to our channel if you enjoy our content. Vanessa Marcotte was born on June 17, 1989, in Leominster, Massachusetts. She was an excellent student and graduated from Boston University in 2011 with a bachelor's degree in communications. After college, she worked at an online marketing software startup in Boston called WordStream before becoming an account manager at Google's New York City office. Approximately every 2 months, Vanessa visited her mother and aunt in Princeton, a small rural town with a population of around 4,000. As an only child, her mother, Rosanna, eagerly awaited these visits and was always delighted when Vanessa could spend time with her. On Sunday, August 7th, 2016, at approximately 1 p.m, Vanessa left her mother's house on Brook Station Road for a run, planning to catch the commuter bus back to New York later that day. She was familiar with the area she intended to run in. When she did not return after several hours, her mother contacted the police. The officers promptly initiated a search, concentrating on the likely route Vanessa took. At 8:20 p.m, a police dog picked up her trail, leading the team to a dense vegetation area about 60 yards from the road and less than a mile from Rosanna Marcotte's home. There, they found the body of a woman who was quickly identified. The victim was confirmed to be Vanessa Marcotte. A preliminary examination of her body left detectives certain that her death was a result of foul play. Her body was found without clothing and had burn marks on her legs, hands and face. The site where her body was discovered was very isolated, with no houses nearby, only the road and surrounding woods. Vanessa's cell phone and headphones were also missing. Despite an extensive search, the police were unable to locate these items. Investigators suspected that the perpetrator had taken them to prevent any traces of DNA from being found. A sneaker with traces of fire was found on the grass near the body, and similar burn marks were discovered at other locations. Detectives concluded that the perpetrator had used gasoline to attempt to destroy any traces of his DNA. Forensic experts determined that Vanessa's cause of death was strangulation, and evidence showed she fought for her life, resulting in DNA from an unknown person being found under her fingernails. The removal of Vanessa's clothes suggested a clear motive for the crime. Medical examiners found evidence of male contact, but DNA samples tested did not match any entries in local or national databases. Small town of Princeton, with a population of less than 4,000, this type of crime was highly unusual and shocked the entire community. Authorities urged residents of Princeton and the surrounding areas to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activity to the Massachusetts State Hotline or the Princeton Police Department. At a press conference on August 11th, Worcester District Attorney Joseph Early Jr. confirmed that the perpetrator was likely male and had sustained minor cuts, bruises and scratches during the struggle with Vanessa. Vanessa's death was a profound shock not only to her family and the residents of Princeton, but also to her co-workers. A Google representative stated that Vanessa was a beloved member of their New York office team, known for her constant smile, passion for volunteer work, and love of Boston sports. She had been with Google for a year and a half. "We are deeply shocked and saddened, and our thoughts are with her family and friends," said Colin Riley, the executive director of media relations at Boston University, paying tribute to Vanessa. We're so terribly sad for her family and friends. They're in our thoughts and prayers. Police initially considered a possible connection between Vanessa Marcotte's death and an incident involving another runner in New York City a few days earlier. However, in that case, the perpetrator was found 6 months later. Chanel Lewis, a 20-year-old Brooklyn resident, was arrested after police matched his DNA to the crime. According to investigators, the person responsible for Vanessa Marcotte's death likely lived in or frequently visited Princeton and was familiar with the area. Detectives also believed that Vanessa did not know the perpetrator and that their encounter was accidental. Law enforcement sought the public's help, setting up 24-hour phone lines for tips. Eventually, an eyewitness reported seeing Vanessa stop outside a local convenience store for a drink of water after 1 p.m. on August 7th. She was last seen walking and talking on her cell phone. Investigators believe the attack occurred within the next 2 hours. Her phone was turned off at 2:11 p.m. and hasn't been turned on since. Despite receiving and following many leads and repeatedly searching the area where her body was found, as well as the surrounding areas, police were not yielding the desired results. It wasn't until 3 months later that the police received more information about the case. A new witness reported that on August 7th, he had twice seen a dark-coloured Ford SUV parked on the curb near where Vanessa's body was found, with the hood up. The driver, a man between the ages of 25 and 35 who appeared Hispanic, was outside the vehicle. The first sighting was around 12:45 p.m. when the driver was standing next to the SUV and talking on the phone. The second sighting was at approximately 2:05 p.m. with the SUV still in the same spot but the hood down, and no one was visible inside or near the vehicle. Authorities began looking for a Hispanic man who owned a black SUV and was thought to live near Princeton. On February 23, 2017, over 6 months after Vanessa's death, Worcester County District Attorney Joseph Early Jr. provided new details about the investigation. He revealed that DNA from Vanessa's body had been analysed, creating a suspect profile. According to the DNA evidence and witness accounts, the suspect was described as a Hispanic male, aged 20 to 30, with an athletic build, medium height, and short or shaved hair. It was also believed that the suspect either owned or had access to a dark-coloured SUV on the day of the crime and likely had noticeable upper body injuries within days of the attack. Approximately 3 weeks later, a police officer in Worcester County noticed a man matching the suspect's description, driving a vehicle identical to the one observed on the day of Vanessa Marcotte's death. The officer quickly jotted down the license plate number. Upon discovering the car owner's identity, the police visited his residence. The suspect was identified as 31-year-old Angelo Colon Ortiz, a Puerto Rican native with no criminal record. Colon Ortiz, who had been living in Worcester for less than a year, was married and had 3 children. Angelo Colon Ortiz worked for a third-party contractor of FedEx, making deliveries, and was familiar with Princeton and the surrounding areas. According to his Worcester neighbours, Colon Ortiz was often described as perverted and frequently made vulgar comments. A former female postal worker from Princeton also mentioned that Colon Ortiz often made crude remarks in Spanish about her and other women to his co-worker. When questioned by the police about Vanessa Marcotte, Angelo claimed he did not know her and could not recall if he was in Princeton on the day of the attack. He was asked to provide a DNA sample, to which he agreed, signing documents consenting to the DNA analysis. It took some time for the lab to run the test, but it eventually revealed that Colon Ortiz's DNA matched the DNA found under Vanessa Marcotte's fingernails. On April 15, 2017, he was arrested and charged 3 days later. Prosecutors alleged that on the day of the crime, Colon Ortiz purchased $5 worth of gasoline from a store 6 miles from the scene at 2:35 p.m. This indicated that Vanessa was already dead by that time and that Colon Ortiz returned to the scene to try to destroy evidence, specifically his DNA on Vanessa's body. The district attorney asserted that the DNA evidence was obtained through proper procedures, which led to the charges. However, Colon Ortiz's attorneys claimed that their client's DNA sample was taken in an irregular manner. They argued that the language barrier prevented their client from fully understanding that he was not required to provide a DNA sample. Colon Ortiz stated he did not realize he could have refused. In an affidavit supporting the motion to suppress, Colon Ortiz explained that although he is a United States citizen born in Puerto Rico, he does not speak, read, or understand English. He wrote that on March 16, 2017, two large white state police officers came to his residence with someone who spoke a version of Spanish that was unfamiliar to him. The trial dragged on for years, but eventually, on January 11, 2022, Judge Janet Kenton Walker denied the defense's motion to suppress the DNA evidence. Colon Ortiz did not plead guilty to first-degree murder. However, in a plea bargain, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, a charge carrying a shorter sentence. He also pleaded guilty to a robbery charge, which carried a 20-year prison sentence. Prosecutors stated that Marcotte's family agreed to the plea bargain to avoid the ordeal of a harsh trial. We are thankful and pleased that the trial ended the way we always wanted it to. That this man will now be in a place where he cannot hurt anyone the way he hurt Vanessa, said the Marcotte family in a statement released by the District Attorney's Office. Let's keep this monster off the streets, Vanessa Marcotte's father added. Angelo Colon Ortiz, 36, was sentenced to life in prison in October 2022. He received 20 years for the robbery charge and will then begin serving a life sentence, which includes a minimum of 25 years before being eligible for parole. This means he will serve at least 45 years in prison before being considered for parole. Additionally, the Q Crime channel offers numerous other captivating cases for you to explore. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated with Q Crime Story videos every day. Farewell for now, and we eagerly anticipate your presence in our future videos.